You don't choose a branch chooses you. This was very true in my case. I have always loved obs and gynae, but somewhere down the line, I was also confused a little. But then the branch chose me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Capes of India, an initiative started by Knya, where we celebrate different inspirational stories of young medical professionals all across the globe. Today, we have Dr. Palak Bansal with us, who is pursuing MS in Obs and Gynae at Gandhi Medical College at Bhopal. Dr. Palak Bansal, thank you so much for joining us today and taking out time.
Absolutely my pleasure to be joining here. I'm doing this for the team of Capes of India.
Thank you so much. So, Doctor, could you please tell a little bit about your story, what you've done and what actually inspired you to become a doctor?
So, I come from a medical background. My father is an ophthalmologist, which translates in layman language to an eye surgeon. And my mother is an obstetrician and gynecologist herself. So, I was born into it and I chose this. I wasn't forced into it basically, but I chose this because I've seen my parents dedicate their entire life to their work and their patients. And one of the reasons that I am pursuing obs and gynae is my mother. I have seen the way she has conducted herself in the role of an obstetrician and gynecologist, in the role of a mother, in the role of managing our small hospital. Of course, every profession has a professional aspect and a personal life. But when you become a doctor, somewhere down the line, your personal life gets compromised because you're always flooded with patients and your entire life becomes living in a hospital where a lot of people dread going to the hospital. We basically live inside a hospital and we want to come back home. But and somewhere down the line, the hospital becomes our home. One of the patients was waiting outside my house, waiting for my father because their child had, burst a cracker, like it had injured his eye. So at that point of time, and since that day, the patient, every Diwali, we have the same patient. I mean, he's no longer a patient because he gets us sweets every Diwali because of one small incident. And it was basically, it was nothing. Like my father barely gave him 5-10 minutes. And he, helped out his child. But now it has been 15 years and it's a tradition that every Diwali, that particular family, someone from that particular family visits us every year. And then again, 2020 COVID hit us. Like all of us know that it was such a devastating thing for the entire world and for the entire community as a whole. So before COVID, I feel that a lot of people took healthcare professionals for granted. Maybe there was a lack of respect. They did respect us, but of course, it wasn't so much as it has increased. As on being on the other side, is that the respect for my profession from me, like. Initially, it was just that I was becoming a doctor, and you understand that people are going to respect you, and you're going to be a part of the society. You're going to be a public figure. But post COVID, you've realized that that sense of responsibility and the thing that people look up to you. Apart from the patients, it was really difficult on the doctors too. And I think that is when your brand came into force, and it became so popular among us because, of course, scrubs are the most comfortable things to wear. The comfort of wearing something that is so easy and so breathable, and yet and they look really smart too, and doctors. So I think that is the time that I got to know about Kanya meds basically. But apart from that, life as a doctor is really rewarding, especially to be an obstetrician and gynecologist, because you see the birth of a child. I know everybody says that labor pains are terrible and patients scream and shout in labor, but the joy of seeing a child being born is unmatched. Like there's nothing that can compare to the joy of seeing a mother hold a child for the first time. And when a patient comes with you with infertility or being unable to conceive or something like that, and then you follow up the patient, and then the patient actually gives birth. Sometimes you get referrals where they say that it's a precious pregnancy. Say someone has been married for 16 years but they don't have kids, and then you deliver that child. the child is special not just to that mother and not just to that couple, but it's also special to you, because you when they take home that child, they're not just taking home a child with you, with them. They're also taking a lot of, like, their hopes are answered, their prayers are answered, that kind of a thing.
That's actually good to hear. You've had a very good story. It has been interesting. So how does it feel like to be the child of two medical people? Like, you're both mother and father. They both are medical professionals, and you being the child of them. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
Everything has its pros and cons. So my parents' first love and their first child is their hospital, and of course work comes always first for them, because they're dealing with patients and they're dealing with people's lives basically, and they're like, it's definitely more important, because somebody else depends on them too. When you come home and all these cases are a part of your dinner table conversations, the love that doctors get, of course, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of things that happen to doctors which are wrong, and people they are very violent also against doctors, but the kind of respect that doctors have is very different. I think I'm really blessed to be a child of to be an inbred, basically, to have both my parents as doctors. And the problems, the one con I felt was that I was never sick in school. I could never take a sick leave because both my parents were doctors. And you never grow into that also. Because if you have a minor fever, any other household would say that, okay, don't go to school today. But your household will be like, okay, take paracetamol or take a certain tablet and go to school. Your fever will subside.
What motivated you to choose this, department compared to the rest?
So they say that you don't choose a branch chooses you. This was very true in my case. I have always loved obs and gynae, but somewhere down the line I was confused. I was also confused a little, but then the branch chose me. Professors in my obs and gynae department in my UG college and my mother, they've been a huge influence in taking this decision to pursue this branch. And of course, when you become an obstetrician and gynecologist, you become accessible to all the women in the society. And I come from a school where we used to run a charitable society for underprivileged girls, where we used to teach them about menstrual hygiene. We had classes wherein we used to teach the girls, like we used to provide them basic education. Apart from that, menstrual hygiene was a big part of that campaign. So somewhere down the line, I feel that girls in India and we as women are still, we still look at menses as a taboo. Right. So a huge reason for choosing obs and gynae was to do something that makes sure that no girl in India is that underprivileged that she cannot she does not have access to proper menstrual hygiene, or she does not have access to sanitary napkins. So that makes me do what I want to and pursue this field. The one thing that I would like to say is that this is one of the most rewarding professions that you will ever come across. Not just because you are touching so many lives, but because your life is being touched by so many other people, and that I think is a blessing, because you are chosen to help others. So sometimes it is stressful and it is you feel like giving up, but just when you feel like giving up, hang on to that one glimmer of hope. And because it is really a rewarding profession, whenever you feel like giving up, just know that you've not come this far just to come this far.
Thank you, Dr. Palak. This has been great. I hope you like this video, and if you like this video, do subscribe to our channel and comment down below. Thank you, Dr. Palak.